What's going on, everyone? So, the rumor mill circling the Utah Jazz and Walker Kessler and a potential trade on that front is really starting to pick up after the news of all the signings, particularly at the center position for the Jazz. Now, the Utah Jazz signed Kyle Filipowski to a 4-year, $12 million contract, which was the biggest contract for a second-round pick in the last few years, as it was put per Bobby Marks, was the biggest contract, a contract that was equivalent to a 22nd pick in the first round. But on top of Kyle Filipowski, they also re-signed Lauri Markkanen, who, yes, he's more of like a power forward, small forward, but he's a guy that is a big guy that can slot in at the power forward or the center position. You got Drew Eubanks, who the Utah Jazz just recently signed. You have Taylor Hendricks, who's going into another year. John Collins, Walker Kessler, right? You start looking at the roster and you start stacking up all of the big men that they have. And it's like, where does Kyle fit in as the first year rookie who's going to get opportunity and run? And is he really a long-term fit for the Jazz if he's not really going to get playing time? Are you really going to spend the next 3 years or whatever developing him? At that point, right, everything's changed now for Utah. One, the roster spots, they're going to have to start clearing the deck here a little bit. Two, you now sign Lauri Markkanen to a long-term big contract, and he isn't 22 years old, right? Like, he's 27. Like, are you really going to spend 4 or 5 years developing this team and developing a bunch of young players? And then at that point, he's irrelevant now? At that point, he's 32 or older? And now you're in a position where it's like, okay, well, we just kind of wasted our time with him, right? Or do you look to go trade him at some point? But here's the thing, right? He had a limited market at $18 million a year because a lot of teams knew you had to pay him $40+ million. The guy, the most games he's ever played in his career is 68 games, right? A lot of people talk about Zach LaVine and all these guys and the injury history and stuff. Well, now Lauri Markkanen is one of those guys. Lauri Markkanen's a guy that's making $40+ million a year and only plays half the season. So how many teams are lining up, especially with the new CBA, to go and trade for Lauri Markkanen? And Lauri Markkanen, yes, he's great, but he's not your number one option. He's not a number two option. Maybe if you have, like, peak Giannis, sure, maybe, or like Jokic or something, maybe. But he's more likely closer to a third option. So I don't know. They're probably going to be stuck with him. So it does make sense of like, hey, we have these big men. We have these versatile, power forward centers. We can go small. We go big. We got this thing. We got Kyle that you can bring in, Flip as like your starter or your backup. Let's see what we can get for Walker Kessler, right? And according to Ian Begley, the Utah Jazz are looking for at least a first for Begley. Here's the thing, though. We also got the same report from Ian that the New York Knicks offered 2 firsts for Walker Kessler. Now, here's the thing, though. Not all picks are created equal, right? There is the firsts that are the Knicks, which are a young, talented, contending level team that for the next 4 or 5 years are going to be picks that are in the high 20s. And then there's teams like the Lakers, who Danny Ainge himself has said he believes that are the best picks on the market. Why? Because he believes when LeBron James and Anthony Davis depart, the Lakers are going to be a dumpster fire. And he might not be wrong, right? So you have, one hand, you have picks that are going to be borderline second round picks. Then you have potential lottery picks, even if they're not lottery picks, right? I mean, even with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers have been 17th pick, right? So would you rather have a teens or would you rather have a high 20s to maybe even 30th pick, right? There's a big difference there, right? And the Utah Jazz already have the Lakers 2027th pick and it's protected. So the Lakers have some options and some flexibility there. One, you could remove the protection, right, and give up a first. So now you have 2 unprotected firsts from the Lakers. Go get Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler would be beautiful. If all it takes is removing that protection and going and giving up a first, to me, you do that all day. Walker Kessler is not 32 years old. He's 22 or I think he just turned 23, something, or he's about to turn 23, right? He is young enough to have been drafted in this year's draft, but he's already proven. He's already shown the ability to stretch the floor and knock down the three ball. He's shown the ability to make plays out of the post and kick it out to shooters and stuff like that. He's an excellent rim protector. You saw him alongside Anthony Davis. Good luck scoring inside in the interior, right? He's a guy that can defend a little bit in the pick and roll, right? Like, he is already such a skilled big man that makes so much sense, not only for now to raise the ceiling, but also long term. He's a guy that he could be your cornerstone for the foreseeable future around guys like Max Christie and Jalen Uchifino and Bronny James and all the young talent you have, right? All the 22, 23 and below year olds, right? So now you have that foundation piece at the center position that you can slot in and start now, or bring them off the bench, let them develop a little bit, and then eventually move into that position. You know, when LeBron retires or whatever, boom, now you got Walker Kessler. You still would have him for a couple years. Also, I don't hate the idea of hitting up Utah and going, not only will we give you a pick, not only will we, work with you in that regard, we'll also do something else that none of these other teams are willing to do. We'll take Colin Sexton from you, and you can have D'Angelo Russell, who is an expiring contract. Right, where Colin Sexton and D'Lo basically wash out contract-wise. D'Lo's actually making slightly more, but they basically wash out contract-wise. And then you could easily just plug in, Jackson Hayes or something like that. Boom, throw that in there, right? And there you go. Or, Cam Reddish or whatever. And here you go. Now you just do an even, nice, clean swap, a 2-for-2 player swap, right? But you get upgrades at two positions, right? Now, I saw a lot of people when I talked about Colin Sexton in the past that D'Lo is the better player and all that stuff, and I actually like D'Lo better. I would actually prefer D'Lo. But here's the thing. D'Lo and Reeves are too much of a redundancy, and that's a problem. The Lakers desperately need some athleticism. Colin Sexton has that. He applies better rim pressure. He's a better defender when he's locked in and engaged. I know if you just look at if you just looked at the defensive ratings, you're like, he's terrible. But if you actually, one, watch the games, and two, look at kind of the advanced metrics when he's locked in and focused, he's actually a better defensive. He has the tools, he has the thing. It's just getting him locked in and focused. Can he under J.J. Redick, under LeBron James? It's also very different when you're slotted alongside guys like Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis compared to Jordan Clarkson and, Kelly Olynyk and Lauri Markkanen and guys like that, where none of those guys are really good defenders. It's a lot harder to be the best version of yourself. Now, you would have and be in a position where you could go Colin Sexton, Austin Reeves. Again, it's not always about who's better. Just like the whole Rui and Jeremy Grant debate. A lot of people are like, Rui's better, you should keep Rui. But it's about the better fit, and it's about a bigger need, right? Again, Colin Sexton is an easy swap who, if you trade D'Lo, you need a replacement. He can fill that replacement, but he fills a bigger need that the Lakers have, which is athleticism while still maintaining shooting, while adding rim pressure, and a guy that could still go get you 17 plus a night, right? So he gives you the same offensive production. Yes, not as efficient, not the high volume shooter, but he also solves areas of other needs on top of clearing up a redundancy with Austin Reeves. And you'd still have the flexibility to then go get a Jeremy Grant or go get a Cam Johnson, right? So now it's not just Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler. It's Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, and then a Jeremy Grant. Your starting five could be a Sexton, Reeves. You could go with Grant, have a LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and then your bench five, you still have guys like Max Christie, Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler, Christian Wood, if you keep him. Right now, you have this versatile depth. You have nice youth and athleticism. Colin Sexton's 25. He's going to be 26 soon, or he may have just turned 26, right? So you got another young piece and talent that can be another piece and building block for the future. People also forget Colin Sexton was the prize in that Mitchell trade, right? Like, people were like, oh, you got young Colin Sexton to kind of be that replacement. And then Lauri Markkanen kind of just elevated and became the guy that he became. And people were like, oh, didn't really see that coming, right? So again, if you can kind of entice Utah and like, hey, we'll take Sexton too, and then on top of that, get a Walker Kessler, I would love that. But bare minimum, you got to go get Walker Kessler, right? That is easy. You could take either, if they want a young guy, give up, hey, here's Maxwell Lewis, right? And something else, right? Like, whatever, right? Depending on what do you want? Do you want to feel like, we'll remove the protection on the first, we'll give you another first. You want a Max Lewis? You want a Jalen Hood-Schifino or something like that, right? I'd like to keep Jalen Hood-Schifino. I know a lot of people are really low on Jalen Hood-Schifino. I would like it, but I'd like Kessler more just because you have Bronny, you have other guys that, and I just think it'd be easier to kind of find that than a skilled big man who can help now and the future. Give me Walker Kessler. Like, if you could swap Jalen Hood-Schifino for Walker Kessler, I would do that, which maybe that would be more enticing to them. Maybe they feel like, hey, we just got another first, right? Because he was picked in the first, 17th. But also, it makes more sense for the long term at the guard position. Now you got that guard for the long haul rather than, you already have your big men. You might need another guard. So maybe you do something like that. Jalen Hood-Schifino for a Walker Kessler. Maybe you're giving up a first and then removing the protections. There you go, right? Clean, easy, get it over with. And then you could, like I said, you could still make the move for a Cam Johnson. You can make all the other moves, right? Even if you don't want Colin Sexton, right? Go get Walker Kessler. Again, throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino first, right? And then now you could go can you get Bruce Brown for, a couple seconds? Like, Lakers have like 5 seconds to trade. Can you get him for 4 seconds instead of a first, right? So now you get him and then go trade for Jeremy Grant or go trade for Cam Johnson with that other first, right? Or maybe you can get Bruce Brown for like a pick swap or something, right? Now you got Bruce Brown, give you that point of attack, give you that athleticism, give you the things that you need alongside Austin Reeves so you don't have that redundancy, clear up that redundancy, go get a Jeremy Grant and then go have Walker Kessler coming up. To me, that's a no-brainer. Get that done. Whatever you have to do to get Walker Kessler, go get Walker Kessler, right? You missed out on DeJounte Murray. That one hurt. Go get Walker Kessler. If you have to take on Sexton, if you have to take on whatever, you go get it done. Walker Kessler helps and solves a big need now and the future. That's it. Now you don't have to worry about drafting centers or big men or anything like that anymore. You got your center, right? Now you're just building around that and you're laying the foundation for the future. Right? Get it done. But as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Whatever you got to do, go get Walker Kessler. Do you feel like, no, they're still not going to trade Walker Kessler? Do you think the asking price of like a first is too much? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.